In today's episode, we're speaking to Peter Schroeder. Peter is an accomplished DJ, entrepreneur, and technology pioneer. With over 20 platinum records, 40 gold records, and triple nomination for the prestigious Danish DJ Awards, Peter is one of the Denmark's top DJs, entertaining audiences up to 180,000. He was featured a radio host by the age of 12 and appeared for talk shows and TV stations across Denmark. In addition to his music career, Peter has over 20 years of experience creating cutting-edge technologies for companies such as Facebook, Samsung, and Airbnb. He's a true innovator who works closely with businesses to address mission-critical telecommunications, enabling them to quickly implement, manage, and expand for success. Let's speak to Peter and find out how he changed his life by changing his mindset. And remember, if you want to upgrade your money mindset, then click on the link www.millionairefoundations.com and watch my free training. Welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And today I'm so excited. I'm speaking to the one and only Peter Schroeder. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited for this.
Thank you so much, Peter. Peter, everyone's heard your intro. They know how fabulous you are, but please, in your own words, tell everybody what it is that you do.
That's hard, right? I do so many things, like all entrepreneurs. Right now, I happen to be running a phone service provider, basically a phone company.
Okay.
That's what I do right now.
So tell us, Peter, how did you get? I mean, I assume you are a true sense of the word, a true entrepreneur. So you've done various businesses. Mm-hmm. How did you get to this point? So talk us through your journey. Where did it all start from you, and how do you end up working in the phone industry now?
Well, so I've always been fascinated about phones. Since I was a little kid, there's always been something about that. So it's not even surprising that I ended up here. My grandfather was a telephone technician, so he brought old phones back home when I was a kid. But yeah, I mean, I've had this weird parallel career path through my whole life where I've had tech on one side and music on the other side, and they've usually intertwined a little bit along the way. And then back in 2012, I had an idea for another tech product that I was working on. It's like a music promotion platform, and I needed a phone service for that, a support line. I couldn't find anything out of the box that I could afford and was easy, and it's like, okay, I'll just code it myself. And I made a little interface for it so that it was easy to change, and all of a sudden I got more interested in that. And before I knew, I actually had a finished product that I released, and people started using it. So that's the short story.
Okay, so that's how you got into the phone product. But I'm more interested in working out, your childhood. You said your grandfather was a technician, a phone technician. So talk us through the journey. So you don't come from a business background, do you?
No.
So talk us through because it's one thing that if you grow up in a family of entrepreneurs, and everyone, whether they're successful or not, it doesn't really matter. Like, honestly, it doesn't make much of a difference. But if you grow around people who are interested in business and want to run a business, regardless of how successful they are, it gives you more motivation to start. But if you grew up in an environment which is employee mindset and they're used to having the paycheck 9 to 5, then breaking free from that mindset is a lot more tougher. So talk us through this, and how did you, what was your childhood like, and how did you break free from that and go into the world of entrepreneurship, which is basically full of thorns and, hardships and roller coaster rides and ups and highs and lows and lows. Right. It's a really emotionally
and it still is.
It's a turmoil.
It never stops.
Yeah, it never does. So talk us through, how did you get here then?
For me, it's not really about being an entrepreneur or starting businesses. It's really just about me working on stuff that I find interesting. That usually leads in some kind of way to a business for some reason. But I started, really young with music and media, and I was at, I think, age 11 or 12, I was doing radio hosting, or being a reporter for national radio in Denmark, where I grew up. And then, did that for a few years and went on to TV there. And so I was really interested in media. And all of a sudden, voice changed because you know, when you grow, so all of a sudden you can't do children's shows anymore. Like when you're out of that marketing. So then I started doing something else. I had an idea for a website, and this was back when the internet just started becoming a thing. So I launched my first website when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
18,
Okay.
Yeah. And that actually became a business as well. And you know, I think that I did that for 4 or 5 years or something like that. And I was really not interested in that topic. I really just started it because I had some friends that were good at drawing and painting, and they wanted a place to put their art online because now you need to do that on the internet. This was back in 1998. I'm not really interested in the topic. So after a few years, you know, and being a teenager, all of a sudden DJing was more interesting. So I started doing that instead, and I sold that website off to a competitor and started making music instead. So that led to about 15 years of being in that industry. I founded a record label eventually because, you know, when you are in that industry every single day, you want to have a little bite of the cake, and you look at the people that run the labels and you're like, I can do that. You know, so really for me, it's I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth between different things, and it's like, you know, there's something here that's interesting. I'm gonna play around with that, and of course I need to make a living, so I gotta find out how I can make some money off of it, at least to sustain a living. And that's really for me it, because I've never really been that focused on, you know, I don't necessarily see myself as a billionaire as the goal. That's nothing. I want to obviously make money, and I want to make sure that my employees and then the whole team do well. But it's not what's interesting or the important thing for me. For me, it's really just about, you know, creating stuff and being, you know, excited and having fun while I'm doing it.
I think money should not be the sole purpose. And I mean, that's saying something, but, you know, being a money mindset person myself, I believe money is very, very important, but it cannot be the sole driver, because there's many ways to make money. You can make money through investments, through you know, through property, and so various things. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to go and create businesses and make them develop and grow them on and all sorts. And it has a different it requires a different skill set, and as well as a character to be able to run successful businesses, because it's not just your money and your reputation that's on the line. You also control other people's livelihoods. There's people who depend on you, which 100%. Has their families. And this realization, I think I came across it very, very, I mean, I've had multiple businesses and 7-figure businesses, but I've always had consultants. I've never had somebody depend upon me solely, because, you know, I did, you know, whether it's property or trading or coaching, I had other people consulting for me and making money, of course, on me, but they weren't dependent upon me. I went into a brick and mortar business, and all of a sudden I have 25 families dependent upon me, making sure that I make that business a success. Otherwise, they don't get the wages, they don't get the food on the table. That's a whole different mindset. That's a whole different game.
Yeah.
And so making money for yourself goes out the window. Making sure the business flows and business succeeds, it becomes a completely priority for a different reason, because there's team involved now.
And at the same time, you know, you want to grow it. You want to for me, like I said, you know, I want to have fun with what I'm doing. I want to you know, build stuff, and you need to, you know, not only run the business, making sure that it survives, but you need to grow it to keep doing that, right? And getting more opportunities and stuff. For me, it's really just like about the journey, and it's never really been about the end goal. I've always had like tiny goals along the way with anything I've done. It's never been, you know, this, okay, I'm starting a business today and then I want to take it public in 3 years and it has to be at that valuation. Never been like that. It's more just like tiny, very achievable goals for me.
Right. Okay. I think it depends on who, you know, what motivates you. Some people are motivated with the numbers. I think I would be one of those people that okay, in order for me to do this, I need to X, Y, Z. I have goals in mind, and I always maybe I always go for, I always say aim for the stars, and you hit the rooftops. So I always put high expectations of myself and my team, but it's just because that drives me and that pushes me along, because I don't believe that if I don't have a target in mind, I won't try as hard. And I wish I could equate this to the person who said this. And they said, if you think you can do it in 10 years, you'll do it in 10 years. If it might be Elon actually, but if you think you can do it in 6 months, you do it in 6 months. So it's what the time frame you put in. And I've done that in my life throughout, and it works. Honestly, anybody listening, it does work. So I think it depends on what motivates you. But the end goal isn't the money. The goal is the development. As you said, the journey is important. Destination changes all the time, and will do. Because once you get there, you go for something else. Talk us through how, when you went to, so you did not go to university? Did you not go to, go through the conventional education system?
No. So I found out a couple of years ago, I think like 3 years ago only, that I have raging ADD. Back when I was in school, that term didn't even exist. We had heard about ADHD, well, the kids run backwards up the wall and can't sit still. That's not me. So, I definitely, when I reached, I think, 10th grade, I was done with school. There's no doubt. And later I found out how to control that. And, I feel like that's my superpower today. That's how I've gotten to where I am. But never did any of that. I really just figured out how to do things myself with anything really, and just hustle along the way. And like the same goes with our company Telshio. Like we founded it, bootstrapped it. I mean, you got to be somewhat crazy to go out and say, hey, I'm going to start a phone company and I'm going to compete against AT&T and Verizon. Oh yeah, and I have $14,000 that I cashed in from a 401k, and that's it. So that's just when you really lay out the cards like that.
It's crazy, but then that's nuts. It's those crazy ones who think they can change the world that actually can, and that's the beauty of it behind us. I think that's brilliant. I think why not?
It's PB Longstockings. He says something like, "I've never done that before, so I'm sure I'll be really good at it." That's kind of how I live my life. I'm just gonna try it. And
that sounds like me too. When in my current thing, a question I asked, why did you come into this industry? I'm like, why not? Why not? Exactly. So it's a, and I think I'm probably I'm a complete male-dominated area as a manufacturing, and I'm like the only woman there. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey,
why not?
And the thing is, I really feel like it's obviously it's a personality trait, and there's different things, but anything I've done my whole life is I always go into it 100%. Like even when I was 15 years old and had to make some money to sustain the growth of my first website. I was sorting bottles in a grocery store. But I was really, really good at it because I want to make sure that I was doing the best job I could.
Yeah.
Anything I always go 100% in for it. And that's probably also why that's an ADD thing as well, obviously. But that's also why I'm able to get pretty good at the different things I've done, even though they're so different. Music industry and then going over and founding a tech company and things like that. But again, put in a lot of hours as well.
Well, you can never. I always say, hard work will outpace talent any day. So you have to put the hard work in, and there's no way around it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly as well. If you're going to do something, do it well. There's no point you're doing anything where you're doing doing it disrespectfully or not doing it properly. If I'm cleaning the tables, I'm going to be the best table cleaner around.
And the thing is,
that's how you. That's kind of mindset you have. Yeah.
That's going to help you later because you might be cleaning some tables, but then someone will see that you are really, really good at that. It's just like in some weird way, things just happen when you do a good job.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you just can't you can't predict what that's going to be.
Yeah,
but it just works.
No, I mean, I think as an employer as well. If I see someone and they are putting 110% in, it doesn't matter what they're doing. You want to help them. You want to help them grow. You want to help them develop. It's just naturally comes from you. Like, that person's doing so good. Is doing so well at the current place. What else can they do? What else can they excel? How else can I help them? And you do that. So you're not. I think no jobs is too low. I think whatever you do, you have to put your best in, and it has to come from me being authentic and real, and not demeaning any particular place and doing anything. I remember one time when I was going through my entrepreneurial journey, and my journey is just crazy itself. I joined, I remember, a network marketing company as well, so I went through that phase as well. And I remember having my baby in the pushchair and going out giving leaflets and feeding her a little bit and then taking her out and leaflets and doing things. And it was interesting because I think I took my cousin and got her to help me with my niece, and she just looked at me. By the way, at that time I'm already qualified lawyer there, right? So I was trying to work around my daughter, and I didn't want to go back into employment, so I was trying to make something else work. And she looked at me, she thought, you're a banking finance lawyer, you're earning so much money, and now you're on the streets giving out flyers, doing whatever. And I said, I'm going to be the best network marketer in the race. And I did, and I was willing to do whatever was required, which is go on the roads, give flyers out, do the phone calls, whatever. And I actually did pretty well in that network marketing. I just left it after a little while, but I did make a success out of it because I did whatever was required. And it's a mindset that I'm a lawyer, I'm this and that wasn't in my mind.
No.
You just do whatever you need to do in that current thing. And that's what makes you success. And this, I think, probably is one of your amazing reasons why you're so successful, because you have the mindset, I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna think something is below me. I mean, if things need to, I mean, I'll spend the night cleaning the office if it's messy. It's just Yeah.
I think that's one of the best characteristics of a go-getter. They'll do whatever it takes, and they're not afraid of getting their hands dirty. I think this is the quality that I have, and I've seen it across most people who are successful. When this quality is not present, people find excuses. Yeah, exactly. I'm too there, so I'm too old, or whatever else. And I'm not going to say this name. I had a fantastic opportunity which I presented to somebody close to me, and he was umming and whatever. And then he said, come back to me, he said, but I'm lazy, I'm kind of lazy. And I thought, as soon as he said that, I'm like, you're right, absolutely, no thank you, right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter how close you are to me, I'm not going to bring you in and spoon feed you and whatever else. I thought this would work for him, and I was trying to be nice, whatever. But that moment, as soon as he said that to me, I thought, you can't, it doesn't matter how close you are with family, with people around you, you just cannot be lifting other people up. They have to pull their own weight. And if somebody is already thinking, because I think there was the commute and stuff like that, if somebody's already thinking about that stuff and making excuses up, then you can't help them. Yeah. They have to think, I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's also going to look bad on you, because eventually they will fail. You can't force anyone into doing something because you think it's good for them. That's not...
Unless you learn the hard way, especially when it comes to family. That's the hard way, I swear.
You know what? I actually had that conversation with my wife recently about some other family members, because it's actually a backwards way of thinking. Like you think that you know better for that person. Like it's almost like you're telling them what like that you know everything. I feel like that's the wrong way of thinking. So it's not always good to help family members either. Like this, even though that can be hard.
I don't necessarily think it was coming from the angle of I know best. It was like I was trying to bring opportunities, because I'm very blessed and I have so many opportunities. I was trying to bring them this individual opportunity that would pay dividend upon dividends. It would do a lot in the next 5 to 10 years. But the foresight wasn't there, the motivation wasn't there, the ambition wasn't there. There's nothing I can do to create that for the individual. So we left it. Going back to you now. So how did your family take, you doing one business after the other, and then becoming a DJ, and then, what kind of support did you get from your family?
I got all the support in the world, even though, I've never been a one-hit wonder thing, or like a perfect out the gate. I failed so many times, and I've been evicted from apartments twice, and because I always go full in with everything I do, and if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail big. It's always all or nothing for me. So obviously that's also been rough. But I definitely got a lot of support, not financially or anything like that, because I grew up with a single mom, and she definitely didn't have a lot. But I got a lot of really smart advice, like life lessons, and she was a really smart woman. So I got a lot of that, and just in general, just all the support in the world. I moved back home on her couch when things were failing and stuff like that. So I've always had this, support, this safety net, right? That would allow me to go full in on everything.
Yeah.
And eventually it would work out on certain things, right? And then, I think she kind of knew that, that eventually something will catch on, like it's not like I'm doing dumb things. I'm actually, doing everything I can and you got to try. So I got a lot of support, and she was also in Michigan. My dad was as well, and so I kind of had that whole thing. But she was an engineer as well, so I kind of had this like whole mindset, even though it's not necessarily business minded. I definitely got some of these traits on the things I've been working with as well.
Sounds interesting. I mean, I think I'm a single parent too, and my mom was a single parent. And I think the one quality that I think single parents do have, and I'm saying single parents on purpose because we do have men who are single parents as well nowadays, not just women. So I think that the one quality that all single parents have is determination and this perseverance, and it's very hard. People don't realize how hard it is being a single parent, because it's not just that you get some support. It's basically it's all or nothing. If you're one child's ill and then you've got more than one child's ill, the other ones you have to figure that stuff out. And if you have work and if your child falls ill or they've got appointment or hospital appointment, something like, again, you are out of balance. It's a complete balancing time work all the way throughout. And you get no time off. So single parents have to build a resilience. And I think because they have that resilience is passed on through osmosis, not necessarily 100%. Taught physically or verbally, but through actions is passed on to the children.
Yeah. Seeing my mom leaving at 5 a.m. to go to work and her coming home at 9 in the evening, and me as 10 years old, making sure that there's food and stuff like that. Like that whole, mindset that, hey, it doesn't help to just sit down and cry about it.
You get them and do it.
Life is hard. So go out there and do something about it.
Yeah.
And definitely.
And that resilience, that skill that you picked up from your mother, not openly, but through osmosis, I call it, is through osmosis. You're just learning and just watching her, what she's doing. Mm-hmm. It's probably been the reason why you've been successful. Because a lot of the times when the going gets tough, a lot of people get going. They don't really stick around. Whereas if you have resilience, you're like, you know what? Life is tough. Life is hard. Yeah. So what? Let's carry on. Let's persevere through. And those are the ones who stick, and those are the ones who are successful. And then most other people who could have been successful, who didn't stick around, who didn't pull through, say, "Oh, you got lucky." This is the phrase that a lot of people say. "Oh, but he just got lucky," or "She just got lucky." Now, what are your sentiments about luck?
Yeah, that doesn't exist. I mean, I think what people don't understand is how much effort entrepreneurs put in, the ones that actually make it. How many hours? I mean, I sleep 2 hours a night. Pretty much, I've done that for the past 10 years. It doesn't help that I've just had twin babies, So.
Oh, bless.
But yeah, no, it's a never-ending amount of work, and I forget. I think it was someone on Shark Tank that said that entrepreneurs are the only one willing to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for someone else.
Yeah,
and it's accurate, But the thing is, it comes with this crazy amount of freedom, and it's really the feeling of freedom because, just knowing that you'll be able to go pick something up or go do something at any given time. You are in charge, and you can do pretty much what you want, even though that's absolutely not true.
You're not doing worse anyway.
But the thing is, you also don't. Like I have to remind myself to take vacations, because that actually rubs off on your employees. Leadership needs to show that it's okay to take vacation and stuff like that. So, but I don't want to, because I actually want to work. I would much rather sit at my office and do my work because I'm so interested in it. That's my passion. But it's I heard another entrepreneur, a Danish guy that made some licorice imperium, like it's crazy big business he built on licorice, and he said that people always asked him or told him, "Hey, it's crazy how big that got. You never expected that, huh?" And he's like, Yeah, I did. I did expect that. That's that's what I'm working for. And people don't understand how many hours that's behind. And there's no such thing as luck. That's yes, sometimes things align for you, and things happen at the right time, and that could be luck, I guess. But
then it has to be a numbers game, isn't it? You try it's a numbers game, I think, right? So there's a phase that luck is opportunity meets preparation. Opportunity meets preparation. But I think more from my experience, it's a numbers game. The reason why Michael Jordan is the most celebrated basketball player, because he tried the hardest. So if you look at his numbers, the amount of baskets he missed greatly outnumber the number he got through. But the point is, the reason why he has a higher score because he tried the most, and that applies to and he kept trying. So if you keep trying, and if you don't see failure as an option, you say, okay, I'm only for failure if I stop trying. If I'm going to carry on trying, something has to stick. Obviously, you don't do it stupidly, but you do it. Okay, I've learned from this. It didn't work out this way. It didn't work out this way. Okay, let's try this way. So you don't do the same thing again, expecting a different result, but you do try in different angles, and you change your methodology, depending on what the feedback you get. It has to be successful. I mean, that's why I would say failure is not an option. I'm going to carry on trying until I succeed. So it has to, in the universe as well, will eventually give way, because they're like, she's so stubborn, he's so stubborn, they're not going to go.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Fair enough. I think that's what creates luck. I think it's perseverance and not giving up and learning from every time you do fall down, because there are lessons in there. And then that's what creates luck.
I always say, people ask me what are your greatest traits or something like that. I always say stubbornness. I'm crazy stubborn. I will keep. And if someone tells me I can't do something, oh my God, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, that I can. That's just fuels me. That I'm gonna. Now I have to show you, and now it has to work. So now I'm gonna figure out how to make it work, because I'm incredibly stubborn, and that's, I think, is an important thing. Yeah. Stubborn and a little bit naive. Believe something can happen.
I think that naivety comes from that self-belief, like, I'm going to make it. If 100 people didn't succeed, I'm going to be the one person who does, and I'm going to make it. And I think I've always gone in with that attitude that I'm going to be the top person. I'm going to be the top. I'm going to be the best. It's always me being the best. I've never competed with other people. I'm always competing against myself. So I'm making sure that I'm the best version. And therefore, if people are above me, I'm like, okay, no, if you're above me, great, I'll learn from you. I'm going to get above you. But it's a healthy competition, not in a way to bring anyone else down. It's just to improve myself. And I think when you come from that angle, you'll never lose out, because you're constantly improve. If you meet someone who's better than you, you can learn from them. And if you are the best person in the room, then change your room, by the way. That's the wrong room to be
exactly.
in. So go and find a better room. But you don't start thinking you become complacent, like, I'm the best person here, whatever. You think, no, okay, I need to change my room. And two, I'm not competing against them. I'm competing against the older version of me. So I think that's the way to move forward. So let's wrap this up. And I just want you to give us a parting thought on, if someone's considering entrepreneurship and has come up with a gazillion excuses why they can't. My daughter just, was born, or my son is in kindergarten, or my other son is going into college, and we need to support him financially, whatever reasons they can come up with, or, my husband's not feeling well, or whatever else. We give ourselves so many excuses why we cannot do what we want to do. What would your advice be for someone who's tried, failed, succeeded, and then tried again?
Well, so the thing is, I people who make these kind of excuses, I really try to avoid being around them, because they rub off the wrong way on everyone else around them. Like it's poisonous. If you have someone on a team in your business that acts like that and makes excuses for things, I mean, in my business, they're gone very, very fast, because it's like a virus within a company, and it goes for friends and stuff like that too. It's just this laziness. But on the opposite end, if you have someone that does the exact opposite and just does things, by themselves. I mean, my team is full of these people, and I've spent 10 years finding them. It's the best. But if you can find those kind of people that just does cool things by themselves and just like because they believe they can, then that's the key to success in my world. So it's very black and white. And I really can't be around people who make excuses. I'm allergic to that.
Oh, wonderful. All right. So Peter, tell us, how can we find you on the internet? How can we connect with you?
Yep, I mean, if you want to connect directly, then peterschroeder.com. It's a very simple website, my name, and then a bunch of links to my social media. But everything is there, and even my email address. I love to hear from people, so just reach out.
Wonderful. So if you are listening to us on the podcast, then the links for Peter would be in the show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have his link to. Go check him out and see what you can learn from him. Well, thank you so much for coming on as a guest for Friday Feature today, Peter. We will have to have you back on Money Talkies, but today, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Thank you for listening to me and Peter today on Friday Feature. I will be back with another amazing guest, finding out how they change their life by changing their mindset. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull signing off. Take care and bye for now.